All right, so we're gonna do the top 10 movies of the '90s. The '90s, I've said many times, is my favorite era of films, just because I was in high school during this time, and so I remember these movies very fondly. I worked at a movie theater from '95 to '98, and I saw everything that.
95 was a good year too for movies.
Most definitely was. So we're gonna talk about the films of the '90s, and so of course the way we do this is we start off with 10 through 6, and we will start off with Olaf, the voice of God. Olaf, what is your number 10 through 6?
Alrighty, coming in at number 10 is Fargo. And number 9, we have Nightmare Before Christmas. Number 8, Toy Story. Number 7 is Natural Born Killers. And number 6, Sixth Sense. Makes sense. That Sixth Sense would be on 6, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I suppose.
Okay, that's a good.
If you want to be that way, it's the weirdest thing. He started talking and it started raining outside. Maybe he is the voice of God.
Hilarious. All right, Arpo, 10 through 6.
Okay, like last year, I went year by year, picked one film from each year as my pick for best movie, and also picked out what I felt was the worst movie for that year. So we started at number 10 in 1990 with Jacob's Ladder, which really defined the psychological horror film. The worst movie that year, The Bonfire of the Vanities, or as I like to call it, How to Take the Most Significant Book of the 1980s and Turn It into a Train Wreck.
Okay, but you're starting off with the most significant book of the 1980s, so there's your train wreck to start with. Just saying is all.
Okay, coming in 9th place from 1995, The City of Lost Children. The very frightening fairy tale from France that just mesmerizes me whenever I see it. Worst movie of 1995? My God, was there a worse movie ever than Waterworld?
I liked Waterworld.
The Postman.
I love.
Okay, well, whatever. Actually, coming in at number 8, 1991, and here we may actually have a movie that's worse than Waterworld. But first of all, my pick for the best movie that year was Beauty and the Beast. Hey, when an animated film gets nominated for an Oscar, it's for a reason. It really was that good of a movie. But the worst movie that year, Hudson Hawk.
Really?
Oh, no, I've hurt King's feelings.
Not at all. That was a terrible movie.
It's a crap.
I snuck into that movie, and then about halfway through it, we snuck out.
Alrighty, coming in at number 7, 1999. I'm a big Philip Thomas Anderson fan, and Magnolia is my favorite film of his. Worst movie in 99? Sorry, gang. It has to be The Phantom Menace. Gosh, there's no suspense. Gosh, I wonder if little Anakin will survive that race. Gosh, I hope nothing happens to Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right, and at number 6, from 1993, Schindler's List. Stephen King's one big Oscar winner, and once again, for a reason. It's a brilliantly
did you just say
film.
Stephen King?
Yes, I probably did, because, he's the best. But Steven Spielberg,
a scary movie.
he's not chopped liver either. But what is chopped liver is my pick for the worst movie that year, Mr. Nanny. Hulk Hogan proving why wrestlers shouldn't be actors unless they're The Rock.
Or Andre the Giant.
Right,
Roddy
Roddy
Piper.
Piper. You know what?
Or Stone Cold Steve Austin.
On the Schindler's List, it had one of the greatest porn, Schindler's List. I thought, perfect title.
Yeah, I'm sure it was very tastefully done too.
Right.
We're going to set a porn during the Holocaust. It's going to be black and white.
All right, Kitty. What is your 10 through 6?
All right, 10 through 6. Now, this was really, really hard for me to get through. And a few of these I debated on until last second. In fact, I made last second changes as we were doing them down. So, coming in at number 10 for me is Men in Black. Number 9, Ferngully. I love that movie. I really do. Number 8, Goodfellas. I thought that was a really good movie. Number 6.
No, 7.
Yeah, 7. Okay. Silence of the Lambs. And let's see. 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay, so number 6, Independence Day. I saw this one in theaters at the age of 13. I loved it then. I love it now. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to the sequel.
No, don't watch that. That's terrible.
And the first one wasn't. Okay.
No.
My surprise.
I enjoyed it for what it was. A good movie.
The sequel makes the first one look like Gone with the Wind.
Wow.
That's how bad it is. So, yeah. All right, so King. So, what's your 10 through?
Well, as you know, I'm more verbose about these whole things. So I'll try to keep it light and low this week. Okay, so my number 10 is going to be because I think 90s was great for the beginning of a resurgence of independent films, and so I'm giving it to Clerks. I loved Clerks because it was raw. It seemed to my generation, and it was about nothing, which I enjoyed. I'm not a big Star Wars fan like Kevin Smith, but I dug what they were doing in that movie. Enjoyed the heck out of it. Number 9, Leon the Professional. Great movie. Natalie Portman was awesome in that. Okay.
Wait, I got something for you.
Oh.
Bring me everyone.
I was going to say a little bit over the top by Mr. Oldman, but generally speaking, a great film. There's a great feel to it. It's I like the subtle moments in it. The whole thing with the plant and how the quiet moments are the best things about it. When you think it could have been over the top and everything, the girl wants to be a killer. And there's this weird kind of dynamic because you're worried that, this girl's falling, for this guy who's older, that it's a kind of taboo thing, which could have gotten creepy, but it wasn't because his character was so divorced from real emotion. Because of what he was, it really worked well. I thought the dynamic was great between the two, so I love that film. That was number 9. Number 8 is where he didn't do so well in the Phantom Menace. He was awesome in Trainspotting. Ewan McGregor, Trainspotting, loved that movie. There's some scenes you just never forget. The baby on the ceiling, Scotland's worst toilet. But overall, and the whole scene in the bar where they're shouting at each other in such a thick dialect, they have to have subtitles through the whole thing. Great movie based on a really good book, and I enjoyed the heck out of that. So that's number 8. Number 7 is 7. David Fincher. I remember when I saw this in the theater, and the first thing that blew me away was the scene when they're going into the house where the fat guy is, in the face of SpaghettiOs. They walk in, and they're in the top corner of the screen, and they're shining a light across to the other side to look. And so through the whole time, instead of just passively sitting back to watch a film, your eyes are going all over the screen. You're following this light and everything. You've got your main characters here. You've got whatever they're looking at over here, and he was like, he made you look. He made you want to not look. The opening was amazing. Shh, dog. The opening sequence there, just the opening credits. I mean, that just blows you away right from the top. You knew you were watching something that's disturbing and weird. And then other people have taken that aesthetic that he had for this film and kind of ran with it. And you had your Saw movies and stuff like that, which, forget those. But that movie, blow you away right away. And then that puts me to number 6, which came out the same year. In fact, a lot of the movies I like came out the same year. 12 Monkeys.
Great movie.
Terry Gilliam's film. I saw that twice in the theater when it came out. I was just, because I was watching it and going, okay, is he mad? Is this real? Is the paradox there? What does the last line mean in that film? I mean, where she says, I'm in insurance. Does that mean she's going to make sure that everything carries out as it's supposed to? Does it mean she's insurance that she's going to get the cure to bring to the future? You don't know. But you knew it wasn't about saving people in the past. That everyone to those guys was dead already. So it didn't matter to them. So many great little moments in there. So many moments to make you wonder, okay, is this all happening in his head? Is he actually a crazy man? Or is he drawing other people into his madness? Or is he actually a time traveler? Love that film. So there you go. There's my top 6.
12 Monkeys. And the score for 12 Monkeys is great. I mean, it's just a really good, it's the best Brad Pitt performance I've ever seen.
That's the performance that won me over back to Brad Pitt. That and 7. Because before that, he was the whiny crying guy. And he sort of did that in 7. But those 2 performances that came around the same time, I went, okay, you know what? This guy's actually a good actor. So there we go.
Great movie. All right, so let me get to my 10 through 6. Number 10 is look, I'm a big Stanley Kubrick fan, and my number 10 on my list is 1999's Eyes Wide Shut.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that movie. That movie is so good on so many levels, and you know, it's definitely one of his. It's the last movie that he made, and it's a movie that I've watched like a million times. I think it's a fantastic film. Number 9 is this movie is arguably, some may say, the greatest sequel of all time. And Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Okay. Terminator 2. I would list 3 of my favorite movie-going experiences are on this list, and I'm talking about where I had such a great time when I went to the theater and film. And Terminator 2. I don't know if you guys, if Kitty can understand this, she's young, but before Terminator 2, there was nothing like that before. It was nothing that movie just blew your mind because you never seen a special effects like that. You never, I mean, it was like totally something that was fresh. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to really understand that because now there's been so many stuff since then. Mm-hmm. But Terminator 2, I remember I saw it like 4 or 5 times in the theater. I just couldn't watch it enough. It was a fantastic film, and it holds up. It's still awesome years later. And Robert Patrick, you know, it was a
good menace.
You know what's so great about him in that film is that he hits so many notes because he's like not as physically intimidating as Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he pulls it off. Like, I mean, it's such a great performance by him in this film. Yeah. So I can go on and on. Number 8 on my list is continued on that line of special effects, and it was one of my great movie-going experiences. And it's Jurassic Park, 1992. Because Jurassic Park was the same way. Like you'd never seen anything like that in as far as visually. And the cool thing about it was, I had no idea what we were really in for when I went to go see it. Because I remember the way that they promoted the film was, they promoted it like it's Michael Crichton, it's dinosaurs, and Steven Spielberg. You know you want to see this shit. You know what I mean? Like they didn't tell you nothing. That's how they promoted it, and it was like the number 1 film until Titanic, like 4 years later or something like that. As far as box office, great film, still holds up, way better than the sequels. And Steven Spielberg when he was at his best. Number 7 is 1996 Fargo. Fargo. Look, first of all, the Coen brothers are a treasure. You know, they are wonderful filmmakers.
Absolutely,
their movies are just fantastic. And Fargo was this movie that seemingly came out of nowhere. It was like this movie drops, and it's like I think it's one of the great movies of all time, definitely in the last 20 years. The performances are great. Steve Buscemi. I can't think of that crazy guy, the big tall guy that was in a lot of movies.
The guy with the waffles?
Yeah. fantastic. William H. Macy, who's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, that was his big introduction to everybody, was that film. He was in others before that, but this is the one that everyone sort of took notice of him.
And Frances McDormand, who was is married to one of the Coen brothers. I don't know which.
Ethan, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and she won the Academy Award too.
Yep, and deservedly so.
So that means I should never take out the trash again if I make a movie that you won the Academy Award for. I think I should be able to skate for the rest of my life, right? Terrific movie. I can watch that movie over and over. And the TV series is awesome as well. And number 6 on the list is 1999's The Matrix. The Matrix is, such a really, wonderful film. The first one, not the sequels. The sequels were terrible. But the first Matrix film, I remember. I can't remember what Super Bowl it was, but it was one of those Super Bowls that sucked. And I remember
and no wonder you couldn't remember which one.
I remember that was the first time you saw a trailer for the Matrix during the Super Bowl. And I remember when the next day, all that anyone could talk about was, what is this movie, The Matrix? Because this trailer just what is this? Because you've never seen anything like it with the bullet time effects and all of that stuff. And the things that are from that film, the themes from that film, we still talk about to this day. People use it. We talk about society and taking the red pill, the blue pill, all of that stuff. Of course, Keanu Reeves, who is not one of my favorite actors as far as acting.
An actor?
You're right.
I thought he was a prop they just put out. Oh, it's a large lump of wood that was shaped like a person.
But he gives an okay performance. It's really everybody that's around him, that Carrie Ann Moss, Lawrence Fishburne, Joe Pontiano, everybody that was in that film did a great job, and of course Hugo Weaving, who's fantastic. Smith. So that's my 10 through 6. So now we're gonna do this. We're gonna do 5 through 2. We're gonna save one for end. But we're going to first start off with some honorable mentions. So, Olaf, do you have any honorable mentions?
Yes, actually I do this time because, you start looking at all the different movies, and it's hard to pick just 10. So I have, for my honorable mentions, I have Silence of the Lambs, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Matrix, Pulp Fiction, and Goodfellas.
Okay, that's good. All right, so what's your 5 through 2?
All right, so number 5, we have Edward Scissorhands.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was good. I liked it. How they got his hands going, so that was pretty cool. I thought. Number 4, Dances with Wolves, and number 3, Dracula. And for my number 2 is Sling Blade.
Sling Blade.
Yeah.
I almost forgot about that movie. Yeah.
Some people call it a sling blade.
I like French fried taters.
That's funny. You do that too good. All right, Arpo. Any honorable mentions?
Too many. The 90s was a great decade for movies. Although I remember when I was going through the list, there was one year that I'm just going down the list going, were there no good movies in this year? But there were, as it turned out. So, but honorable mentions: Tremors, the last of the great drive-in movies; Awakenings. My pick for the best movie you've never seen: Late for Dinner. Find a copy of it, watch it. It's a great movie. Backdraft, Defending Your Life, The Crying Game, Jurassic Park. For my wife, I put in Indian Summer, which is a very nice little Alan Arkin film. Forrest Gump, True Lies, Apollo 13, The Usual Suspects, Shine, what a great performance by Jeffrey Rush. The Birdcage, Face Off. You get to see John Travolta kill, plus he has a happy ending for my wife. As
Ew.
Good as It Gets.
Oh, sorry.
One of my favorite Irish films, Waking Ned Devine.
Oh, I love that one. I forgot about that.
One of Ian McKellen's best performances, Gods and Monsters. Office Space, The Matrix, The Sixth Sense.
Okay, let me say something about Face Off real quick. Face Off, I really liked when I saw it initially in the theater. I seen it like last year, and I couldn't even sit through it. It's terrible. It was pretty bad. I'm like, was I on crack then? Like,
Yes, you were. You were high on the fumes coming off of the projector.
You know what's so weird though? Broken Arrow, I saw it again too. I actually preferred that over Face Off.
Oh, it's that bad, eh?
Yeah.
Because the death scene in Broken Arrow is pretty damn stupid.
Right. Yeah. All right. So 5 through 2. What do you have?
Okay, coming in at number 5 from 1997, we have The Full Monty, a great British comedy. Maybe the best one they put out that year. Absolutely a delight, and lots of naked men for our dear little kitty. Worst movie that year?
Naked
Oh boy.
Englishmen, though.
Hang on to your seats. Don't throw things at the cameras. Worst movie that year? Star Wars, the special edition. They took a movie that when it first came out 20 years before, I swear to God, I saw that movie so many times that the manager of the movie theater started letting me come in for free because he was feeling guilty about charging me every week. And then they ruined it. They took all those great models away and replaced them with CGI. I'm sorry. That's just not as good. Okay. All right. I'm calm.
Woosa.
19 from number 4, 1992, Scent of a Woman. One of my favorite Al Pacino performances. Hoo-ha! And the first time that I saw Chris O'Donnell in a film and said, "Oh, this guy's got some acting chops." Yeah.
Robin,
Yeah.
eh?
Yes, indeedy. Worst movie in 1992? 1492, Conquest of Paradise.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
With a Frenchman playing an Italian living in a Spanish court. Just a horrible, horrible movie.
Did you see the other one, though? That came out the same year?
No, I didn't see the other one because 1492 was so horrible.
It was Christopher Columbus' Quest for Peace, I think it was, or something like that.
I thought that was Superman 4.
Same thing. Same thing. I think it was the Salkind brothers who did this one, though. So there you go.
There you go. Okay, coming in third place from 1994, one of my favorite, Pulp Fiction. My wife couldn't stand it. She kept when she saw the movie, she was like, "Why can't they show the movie in order?" I was like, because the scene they show at the end of the movie is really what it's all about. And if they show that where it happens chronologically, then you basically have the end of the movie in the middle.
right?
You can't do that. She always wanted me to make a disc of it with it being shown in chronological order so that she could enjoy it. I refused.
I think the last line represents dead, right?
Yeah. Worst movie from 1994, the remake of Miracle on 34th Street. They took one of my favorite Christmas movies and made it really fucking pointless.
Oh, shoot.
Coming in at number 2, my possibly my favorite foreign language film, 1998's Life is Beautiful. You know, you don't usually use the terms death camp and comedy in the same sentence. And yet somehow,
One would hope not.
If you're Jerry Lewis, you do.
yeah, but Jerry Lewis won't watch it.
It'll come out soon. You'll see.
Roberto Benigni showed us that life is beautiful and life in a death camp can be funny. The worst movie of 1998, another remake. Gus Van Sant's shot-for-shot remake of Psycho, proving that you cannot put lightning in a bottle.
And you can't get Vince Vaughn to act.
No. Even if you try really, really hard.
All right, Kitty, honorable mentions?
I actually have 6 honorable mentions, and a lot of these I really wish could have made it into my list. And there are so many more than are on the list that should be on the list. I have Edward Scissorhands. That one came so close, but it was edged out. Tremors. I enjoyed all of the Tremor movies. I don't care what anybody says. They are freaking awesome for a reason. I actually got my mother the DVD box set of the 4 movies when the 4th one was released straight to DVD. And she and I just sit there and we laugh at the stupidity that is Tremors. It's a good movie for that reason. Coneheads. A lot of people don't like Coneheads. I don't understand why. It was a really good cult movie. You know, yeah, it's corny. It's super fucking corny, but that's what makes it great.
Coney.
Well, it's a 1.5 hour Saturday Night Live sketch from the days when a Saturday Night Live sketch could run for an hour and a half and still be funny.
Exactly.
Nowadays, they can't run for 5 minutes and be funny.
I know. No, the kids nowadays.
Yeah, not as funny as my day.
I've seen some of the older ones. They weren't funny.
Kids nowadays will
Killer
never
Bees,
understand.
not funny.
They'll never understand. She looking like a man. Never understand it. Anyway, continuing on with my honorable mentions. Tommy Boy. Love Chris Farley. I miss him so much. One of the greatest. Rush Hour. And the only other animated feature to make it onto my list, Mulan. I enjoyed Mulan.
All right, Mulan. Okay. So what's your 5 through 2?
5 through 2. At number 5 is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I hate what they've done with them nowadays. I enjoyed the suits. I wish they had brought the suits back when they were going to redo that. Number 4 through 3 number 4 through 2 were really fighting for number 1. They really were. Number 4, Army of Darkness. Number 3, The Fifth Element. And number 2, The Green Mile. Now, if you've seen The Green Mile, but you've never read the book or the short 6 series, do it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Do it. One of the greats.
The Green Mile was good. Definitely.
Heartstrings right there. Just yanks them.
All right, so Penguin, is there any
Tons, which I like the 90s more than the 80s, and I wish it was there last week because I did have a good list for the 80s. By the way, number 1 was Blade Runner. Okay, anyways. So my honorable mentions 2 Coen Brothers films, which I loved, which was Fargo and Miller's Crossing. If you have not seen Miller's Crossing, it is probably the most beautifully shot of the Coen Brothers films. It has the most amazing transition scenes. It has some really great character moments. The era it's set in is just amazing. They've captured the 1920s in a really nice way. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend. If you love the Coen Brothers films, Miller's Crossing. And it's one of those convoluted stories that actually, like one of the films I'm going to be talking about, has this very convoluted story that all comes together at the end, and you go, oh my gosh, it's such a minor thing that creates such a huge thing. So it's a great movie. Army of Darkness, Office Space, Fight Club, Misery, Sixth Sense, The Usual Suspects, Silence of the Lambs, let's see, Beauty and the Beast, and like The Green Mile, probably before The Green Mile, and probably better than The Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, which almost made my list. It was very close to get on that list. So there you go. So my number 5 is...
Wait, some days Andy fought him off, and other days not so much.
So my number 5 is a Coen Brothers film. Probably one of the only comedies that you can watch over and over again, and it gets funnier with each watching. That would be The Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski.
I mean, that movie has
league game.
The movie's about absolutely nothing. There's no character arcs. Nobody grows. Nobody becomes better for a better person in the end. It is a convoluted story that makes no sense, and it's all based on complete misunderstandings. And it has some of the best dialogues, the best characters. Some of my favorite lines come from that movie that my wife uses on me all the time. Says, "No, you're not wrong, King. You're just an asshole." One of my favorite lines from that.
You know what's funny, real quick about that film is that when it first came out, people didn't love it right away.
No, and that's the thing. You first see it and you're like, this is okay. Then you watch it again and it's like, this is really funny. And then you keep watching it and it gets funnier with each watching. It's like one of those things that it just kind of like, it reveals itself each time you watch it. You catch a new little thing. Like his dream sequence, you go, oh my gosh, look at all of the little bits and pieces in his dream that have been from the movie itself. The giant scissors and all this other little odds and ends, the bowling ball Viking outfit she's wearing and everything. Just bizarre stuff and little things, throwaway things. And of course, my favorite performance, Jesus, which did Jesus. Nobody fucks with Jesus. Small cameo. You don't forget that character. And he didn't do much.
Right.
8-year-olds, dude. I mean, that movie, it kills me. There's so many lines I love from it. One of my favorite lines from that whole movie is like, he says, "Say what you want to say about the tenets of National Socialism. At least it's an ethos." When he's talking about nihilists being scarier than so basically, at least Nazis had a belief system. These guys believe in nothing. They're scary. Anyways, enough of that. So that's the number 4 is Jurassic Park. I was sick of Spielberg until this movie came out. In fact, even at the time, I didn't appreciate it as much as I did later. It had the same kind of the sappy syrupiness that, come on, Spielberg, give me something with a little more meat. Jaws was a little more, visceral, not just the blood and guts, but there was something about Jaws that was visceral, that was more, little kids could die. In this movie, no, little kids can be electrocuted and not die. But what it did for special effects, the blending of CGI and robotics, and you watch those scenes, and they still hold up even today. When you see those dinosaurs, it's like, I'm looking at dinosaurs. You don't think you're watching some CGI creature or anything. And if you look at the later movies, they're less realistic and part of the thing than that first one, which had lesser technology at the time. All right, number 3 is Schindler's List. Once again, Spielberg. And this is the Spielberg movie when he actually said, okay, I'm going to be serious. I'm not going to be schmaltzy and everything. And there's just something about that film. I mean, I think the scene that got me the most was when they've got the death camp. They're driving to the death camp, and you realize the entire roadway is basically Jewish headstones that have been turned into their pavement, I guess, or whatever, just the roadway. And it's like, okay, that got me the most watching that film. And it wasn't the girl in the red. You'd think that would get you more, but it was that scene that really, got me going, oh my God, this is really bleak. And it was a great film all around, great performances. The fact they did it in black and white was probably an excellent choice, because in color, it would be even more grisly, because they would have to keep it muted and dark anyway. And when you've got the somber colors, it'd be too oppressive. At least the black and white kind of, you've got the feel, but at least there was sort of a distance you could have with black and white. You didn't feel like, it gave you a little bit less despair.
And Ray, great.
And Ralph Fiennes, oh my God. That performance. I mean, his first line in the film, right, where they're just talking. Oh, here's the ghetto, and he just looks and goes, "Yeah. Why's the fucking roof down? I've got a cold." And it's like, wow, this guy is just like so cold and so. It was, and he wasn't like, super villain evil either. He had this weird, twisted thing going on in his head where he's justifying what he's doing, and you can almost see a guy who's running a death camp who's justifying doing some horrible things and he's going, I'm not a bad guy, I'm just, this is just something I have to do, and there's reasons, and yet he's psychopathic and at the same time trying to be normal too. I'm cultured, I'm this, and I guess in a way it almost kind of encapsulates that time. Those, you have Germany, which at the time was a place of, great industry. It was a place of, there was a great art scene. It was like just before the Nazis came in, you had amazing stuff going on as far as cultural and arts and everything. And then these people came in and the country accepted them. And it was like the split personality of the country is encapsulated in that guy right there. Anyways, number 2 is Pulp Fiction. Reservoir Dogs made me like Tarantino. Pulp Fiction made me love him. As much as I don't like listening to him talk, I love listening to his films and listening to the dialogue and the kitsch and the throwbacks to the 70s and everything else. Loved it. And Pulp Fiction is my number 2.
Yes, great list. Great list. Definitely, I can't argue with anything that you had on there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I have a long list of films.
Yeah, we're going to argue with all of yours.
Right, so I'm really quick. These are my honorable mentions. I have quite a bit of them. New Jack City, Friday, House Party, L.A. Confidential. L.A. Confidential, I can't. That was so hard. I wanted that to make the list.
That was a good movie.
Such a great movie. Anyway, Shawshank Redemption, Fight Club, Good Will Hunting, Goodfellas, Saving Private Ryan, Silence of the Lambs, Leon the Professional. Everyone! 7, Scream, and Casino. All right. All of those are really excellent films that I love. All right, so here we go. 5 through 2. My number 5 movie, once again, like I said last week, with Scarface being every brother that's my age has Scarface on their list, right? Also, every brother my age has this movie, 1993's Carlito's Way. Carlito's Way is a movie by Brian De Palma, who's one of my favorite directors, starring Al Pacino. Terrific movie. Just love. I've seen that movie 100 million times. Me and my friends, we used to quote the movie. Knew all the lines from the movie. Great movie. If you haven't seen Carlito's Way, it's the first time I actually see Sean Penn in something. Like before that, I couldn't stand Sean Penn, and you can't stand him in this movie. He's a real slime ball, but he's so good in this movie. And I was like, man, this guy can act. Like, it's funny to think that now, right? But at that time, I don't know if people really thought of him as like this really super duper great actor. And I think Carlito's Way might have been the first movie where people started to say, oh, wow, this guy actually has some skills. So Carlito's Way, anybody who knows me personally knows that I've owned it on every single platform. So I definitely have that. Number 4 is 1995. This is another one that's on a lot of brothers' lists. 1995 movie Heat, directed by Michael Mann, Al Pacino once again. Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. And I had the pleasure, and I didn't even know this. A good shout out to one of my mentors. His name is George Evans. He used to be the head graphic designer at Warner Brothers. And so what happened was, I'm the kid, right? I'm interested in film, and he allowed me to come to the Warner Brothers lot. Cool. I was there. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what was going on at the lot that day. It's so awesome. They had a little movie called Space Jam they were filming, and there was I'm a big NBA guy, right? Michael Jordan,
acting with nothing around him.
Charles Barkley, all of these people, they were playing this pickup game on the lot.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh my god! And then we were able to sit in and watch these. I'm talking about these legends play. It was amazing. Also, too, they had just wrapped up. I think it was Batman Forever, and so I got to go to Gotham City, and I saw the Batmobile, and I was on the sets and everything. Right.
So, how much retina damage did you get from all that neon?
Man, I was so excited. I wasn't even supposed to be there. This guy was taking me places I wasn't supposed to be. And then the other place I was at was a movie that was getting started called Heat.
Cool.
And the only thing I knew about it, because it's not like the internet like now, was that Robert De Niro and Al Pacino was going to be in this movie. And I was like, wow, they're going to be in the same movie because they were in Godfather 2, but not really.
Right.
So it would go on to be one of my favorite films set in Los Angeles. If those who don't know, the movie The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan was basically inspired from this movie. If you watch both movies, you'll see it. Even the classic scene in Heat is when Al Pacino and Robert De Niro sit at the coffee shop and have their face off. Mm-hmm. Remember, in Dark Knight, they had a scene somewhat like that between Batman and Joker. It was totally taken from Heat. And then also, too, I'll add that there was a panel that was like last week sometime at the Oscars where Christopher Nolan interviewed Michael Mann and everybody that worked for the movie. And they talked about it, and he's a big fan of it, as am I. So Heat is my number 4 movie. It came out in 1995. My number 3 film, which is one of my all-time favorite films of all time. People, once again, people who know me know this is my movie, is 1995's The Usual Suspect. The Usual Suspect, I had the pleasure of not knowing anything about it. I worked at a movie theater. There was a screening of this movie. This was like maybe a couple of months before it came out. Had no idea what this was. Had no idea. I didn't know who was in it. I just got a chance to see his free screening at my job. And I watched this movie and I'm like blown away, right? And the funny thing is, I almost walked out at the end because I always like to leave right at the before. And then this guy who was involved in it said, "You don't want to leave." We know why.
Why? Trust me, you don't want to leave.
Right. And thank God I didn't leave, right? Because I'd have been like, everybody had been like talking about the ending, and I would have been like, "What are you talking about?" So my number 3 film is Usual Suspects. Bryan Singer, he's made some good movies since, but nothing on this level. But and it's funny when you watch the behind the scenes, a lot of the great moments of this movie were totally by accident.
Well, the lineup scene was basically Yes.
So, but definitely one of my favorite films. Can watch it over and over. I'm probably due for a viewing. And number 2 on my list, which I think is I would say it might be the best movie of the 90s, is Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction. I have a love-hate relationship with Quentin Tarantino. Mm-hmm. And, Reservoir Dogs, fantastic film. Mm-hmm. Kill Bill, all of these movies were really great. But, Pulp Fiction, the same year, like Forrest Gump, which I've seen, it doesn't seem like no one's put it on the list. But at the time, Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction was battling for Best Picture, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I've seen both, and they're both really great movies. But I remember saying at the time, I said this back then. I said, Forrest Gump is a great movie, right? But Pulp Fiction is a movie you will definitely remember. Like you just knew that Pulp Fiction was way something different, and it's been ripped off 100 million times. Mm-hmm. And it is, and unlike Arpo's wife, he did it the right way, So sorry, Arpo's wife. I'll bring him back in. But Pulp Fiction, definitely terrific film. I don't know that Quentin's ever done anything to even come close to living up to it. And I remember there was a long time in between Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown. Because I remember there was like all this pressure, like, when are you going to make your next movie? When are you going to make your next movie? And I can see why. I mean, he had to live up to it.
Yeah.
terrific.
I love Jackie Brown too.
Jackie Brown was, yeah. Oh my God, there's so many great lines. The scene where Samuel Jackson is talking to Robert Forster before about if Winston is in there, what he's going to do to him and all. Oh, that's priceless. Samuel Jackson. So, all right, that's my 5 through 2. So now we're going to get to our number ones. I'm going to start off with Olaf. What is your number one film of the 90s?
My number one favorite film was Shawshank Redemption. It's like anytime it ever comes, if I'm flipping channels and I see it's on, I'll stop and watch it. I just that one and Green Mile is another one of mine. It's like that one didn't make the honorable mention list, but I kind of forgot about that one. But Shawshank Redemption is my number one favorite film.
Can't argue with that. Great movie.
It's a great movie.
Arpo.
We're never going to find out what Arpo liked.
I know, right? So what we'll do is...
I'll tell you what it was, if you want me to tell you.
What is it?
It was Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. he was trying to double fake us by going, oh, no. But, yeah, Phantom Menace.
I thought it was Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
I can't see how anybody couldn't like that Phantom Menace. It was such a terrific movie, and
well, there was a menace, and it was phantomy, and there was a tax problem, which everybody loves in a film. When your film is about a tax dispute and trade deficits, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. And if you have caricatures from the 1930s done as space aliens, hey, you've got a great film on your hand. And we know he was being subtle, but I think we know what he was talking about.
And everybody, they talk, they talk about Haley Joel Osment, and Jodie Foster when she was a child actor and all of that. But come on now, you can't beat the child performance.
Well, I almost picked actually his other great movie, which was Jingle All the Way, as my top film of the 90s, because I mean, the relationship between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Little Bullhead, it was like everybody's family. I wanted a Turbo Man.
All right, we're going to try Arpo one more time. And
last chance, Arpo.
Right,
what are you going to pick? I bet he's picking Shawshank, too.
Kitty, what is your... Wait.
My number one?
Yeah, do it while we're waiting for Arpo to come on.
Oh,
there it is. Come on, Arpo, get him in there.
What is it? Quick.
Okay, number one movie for the reasons that everybody else has been saying that they loved it, Fargo from 1996. I don't care what AFI says, Fargo has the greatest line in all of film history. Is that your friend in the wood chipper? Just so casual, Worst movie of 1996? Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Wow.
Man,
let's make it funny. Let's give it a happy ending.
Going back to Fargo, one of my favorite things about that is Steve Buscemi said that when they went to him with the script, and they told him that he was reading the script, and they said, "We want you to play this character." He said he noticed that everybody would describe his character as this weird-looking guy. So Steve Buscemi,
funny-looking guy.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi said he went to the Coen brothers. Said, "Oh, how are you going to make me look weird? Are you going to do some kind of prosthetic nose or anything?"
Oh.
And they looked at him and said, "No, we're not going to do it."
Funny looking how? Oh, just generally funny looking.
Oh, and out of those 10 worst movies for each year, the worst movie of the decade, Psycho. You just don't do that. You just don't.
But they did.
All right. So, Kitty, what's your number one movie?
Number one movie of all time from the 1990s, The Crow. And I'm really upset with the remake that they're doing. I am so upset with it because there is no way that this remake is ever going to be better. And the cast that they have, no. Just
But maybe their cast might live through all the way to the end, so they don't have to patch together stuff.
No.
Just saying.
No.
Just saying is all, you know. They'll actually have a coherent
you know
story.
what? I'm kind of wishing.
As
I'm kind of
opposed to
wishing he doesn't
doubles.
survive the movie. I'm kind of wishing he doesn't survive the
Oh,
movie.
that's nasty.
That's evil.
That's how much I
That's
hate
evil.
him, and that's how much I hate that they have him for this role.
Who's playing it? Who's playing him?
Haley Joel Osment.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Totally wrong.
No.
Totally,
I was
absolutely
about it. That's so funny.
wrong.
Hilarious. Oh wow.
But
I like The Crow because it's got another one of my favorite lines from a movie, and most of it was the way that Brandon Lee delivered it. But the line is, I don't know if I'm going to do the exact one now, but the line is
Is this
something
thing
like,
loaded?
"Mommy is." Yeah, that too.
I'm sorry.
Mommy is the name of God on the lips of all children.
Yeah. You know, he was going to be a superstar too, Brandon.
He would have been a big thing. He would have been big.
Yeah.
All right. So Ping Vin.
done before I
Oh
sign.
my goodness! There's no contest. The number one film for 1990s, Scorsese's Goodfellas. If you want to talk about how much influence it had, you think about it, there would not have been a Sopranos or anything like that. There would not be any of the stuff that's on HBO with the crime stuff would not exist if it weren't for Goodfellas. Goodfellas, basically, you had Godfather as the sort of princes and kings of the mafia. You had that kind of thing. This was the working guy who actually did the day-to-day grunt and grind stuff, and this was based on a true story, as true as it's going to be out of the mouth of a guy who's squealed on the mob and is trying to make himself look good. But you do get the feel of what it is, the day-to-day life. You've got the whole idea of how they think of the stuff they do as just mundane, everyday work, the terror that comes from the unpredictability and how unsafe you are. I would say the editing in this film is amazing. There are so many continuity errors that would normally kill a film, but with Scorsese, it's like, yeah, this is what I do. You don't like it? Whatever. It's part of the whole thing. Two amazing scenes. One is one continuous shot. The other is a bunch of edits. Both of them give you that great moment. So you've got obviously the one shot that everyone keeps trying to now imitate, which is where he's going into is it the Copa? I can't remember where he's going into now. But following them through the back doors and everything, all in one shot. And at the time you go, oh yeah, that's really cool. But you think about it, it's like how much work had to go in to make sure that everybody's on their cue and everyone's doing the thing they're supposed to do, and it looks natural and they're going through. And then there's the scene where he's trying to pick up his brother. And he sees the helicopters and the cutting back and forth. And you actually feel the paranoia that the character feels that moment in time because of this disorienting way that it's cut, the shots, the movements and everything. And it's just amazing. Performances all across the board. Great. De Niro has been doing a copy of that performance ever since. He has not been as good as he was in that film. You look at the scene where he's sitting there at the bar, and they're just closing in on him. They're playing, what is that song? Sunshine of Your Love. And it's just slowly closing in on him. He's just sitting there with a cigarette, and he's looking, the look. And you can actually see the wheels turning in his head that he's about to say, fuck all these guys. I'm going to kill them all. They're all got to go. And you can see it, and there's nothing said. It's all, just camera work. His performance, the music, and you're watching and you go, fuck, this is amazing. And normally narration kills a film. This one, it's almost like a comedy bit. It's a counter thing, right from the opening line. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a gangster. Just after they knifed this guy in the back of his trunk. I mean, great use of music, great use of different era shooting. If you watch it, he's actually shooting for each era that he's doing. So the 70s stuff's got a little more grit. The 80s stuff is a little more of the 80s kind of look. And he's just kind of pushing it right through. And it's one of my favorite films. I will watch it every time it comes on. Just amazing. Yeah. So that's my number one pick.
Talking about it make me want to go fire it up right now.
I'm telling you, it's great. It is great.
Funny how?
Yeah.
You mean like a clown?
Alone.
Like I'm here to amuse you?
Yep.
Like I'm some clown in a yellow polka dot shirt and inflatable blue pants, carrying a machete and being a place where a clown normally wouldn't be?
You think about
Is
that
that
too.
what you mean?
This is where Pesci does a really good job because there's times you go, okay, this guy's menacing as all hell. Why would anybody hang around him? And then there's times where he's just a funny guy that you hang around with, and he doesn't seem like, he just seems like one of the guys. I mean, when he's sitting there and he's shooting the Waco kid in the car and everything, he's clowning around. It's okay.
But the funny thing,
What's frightening about the character is he can go from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, and that's why he was dangerous.
In a heartbeat.
Right. What's interesting too is that he's like all of 5 feet tall, but he's like the most intimidating person in this movie.
That whole film. Yeah, more intimidating than De Niro.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing performance. Too. And he basically copies it in Casino.
And so is De Niro too. Really.
Yeah, it's the same character basically. Yeah. I still love both films though. It's almost like the sequel. But definitely Goodfellas, terrific film. And the part that you talked about with the helicopters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, that's like, to me, that's like one of the best parts of the film.
Absolutely. You're actually feeling the paranoia the guy's feeling. Like when you're watching, you're getting this kind of unease just watching it. It's nothing.
It's like when I see a helicopter, oh shit. All right. So
you want to see helicopters? I'll show you helicopters.
The number one film for me of the 90s, and it's one of my favorite films of all time. One of two movies I cried while watching. And both reasons was my father, who's passed away, it'll be 3 years. My father teared up, and every time my father would tear up, it would make me go. And it's 1992's Malcolm X with Denzel Washington, which I think is the greatest performance I've ever seen.
He was great in that. He was.
Denzel Washington's performance in this film is mesmerizing. You can't take him off the screen, and it's not a one-note performance because Malcolm X starts off one totally different person in the first half of the film, and then becomes Malcolm X basically. I think it's Spike Lee's best film, and there's a scene where near the end where they're playing "The Change Is Gonna Come," and that Malcolm X is about to be assassinated. And I remember seeing it in the theater because we went, like my whole family went to go see it. My father was close to me, and I remember looking over and seeing my dad, and tears are coming down his face, and because I never see my father really like that, and the emotion of it got to me as well, and the same thing. Like I said, it's definitely greatest performance I ever seen, and Denzel Washington, who's one of our great actors, terrific performance, and people like Delroy Lindo got fame after that film. He was amazing. Actually, Spike Lee was perfect. It was one of those times where he actually perfectly cast himself.
Yeah.
In his part he played. Actually at that time, he was the best person to play that part, which doesn't always happen with directors, when they cast him.
Yeah, like Tarantino should stop putting himself in his films.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but he was like Malcolm X's yes man, right? That was the part he played. Yeah, that was a great role for him.
Yeah.
So Malcolm X, terrific film, still holds up to this day. And I suggest anyone who hasn't seen it to definitely give it a shot.
Definitely. As far as biopics goes, that's one of the best ones too out there.
Oh my God! And it's such a great story behind how it came together. All right, so that is the 90s. Next week we're going to be doing the 2000s. I like to before we go. I find it interesting though that no one had Forrest Gump on their list. Which I find
that film has aged badly.
Yeah,
it's good as a punchline. That's about it.
Yeah, Forrest Gump.
I
said it then. When they were saying Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, I said Pulp Fiction would be the film that people will still be talking about, and I sure am right. I like Forrest Gump. It was a cool movie. I haven't seen it in probably 15 years, but but no Forrest Gump on the list.
You know what I forgot too? I forgot to mention two of my favorite ones, which was Boys in the Hood and Glory. That was probably the only really good performance from Cuba Gooding Jr. And you thought there was so much promise, and then, and not necessarily his fault. It could be just the way things went with him, but I mean, nothing's after that.
Oh, you did Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, but that was a nothing role, right? He's supporting what's his face there.
Bruce. All right, so I want to just mention a couple of things. We all had, for the most part, Shawshank Redemption on the list. Shawshank Redemption, definitely a film. If you needed any other deterrent to not go to prison, Andy Dufresne getting done in by his fellow prisoners inspired me never to want to go to prison. Silence of the Lambs, which I know it made a couple people's list. It came so close to making my list. Silence of the Lambs is so good. And, there's one part in Silence of the Lambs that's been ripped off a million times. You see this, they do it so much. Is the end part where you think they're going, where the agents are at Buffalo Bill's house, but they're really somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed with that.
But how many movies have ripped that off since then? Like shows, like to this point, they should never use it again.
Actually, what did I just see with? I just watched a movie with that just happened, and I was kind of disappointed they did that. And I can't remember now. I just watched it the other day too, and I was like, going, "Oh, they can't be doing that," and they did. So. It was Narcos. It was Narcos. I don't know if you've been watching that at all. Netflix series?
I haven't finished with the first season.
Okay, great season, but I'm sorry, you can see it coming, and I'm going, oh, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that, and they did.
Keep talking. Hold on. Keep talking, you guys.
Actually, I was going to say I have to get going now. So I'm going to say goodnight and goodbye, and thanks, everybody.
Thanks, King.
And we'll see you all next time.
Have fun.
Okay.
Ciao.
I've actually got to get going too.
Right, so I was about to say, now it's just you and me, baby.
I know, but food's ready. I want to have a little time with my husband before he goes to work, find out how his class was. So just real fast, I was streaming today. You guys probably missed it again, but I'll be streaming again tomorrow. You can find me on twitch.tv/kittycat8587. Probably going to start off with a little bit of Hearthstone. Probably move on to maybe some Starbound, maybe some Knights of Pen and Paper. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I've got to get going. I will see you all later. Bye. Love you.
Peace.
Bye, Kitty.
All right. So, and how can people get you, Arpo?
Like always, just come and knock on the door. That's the best. That's actually the best way to reach me. Because my phone is for crap, and, Facebook, the Movies Underground forums, or if you want to see the snarky side of me, come visit me on Kiwi Farms. I get mean on there. It's fun.
All right. And Olaf, how can people get you?
Well, it's like you can follow me on both Facebook and Twitter, but just don't follow too close because I do get nervous and I do have a little bit of an itchy trigger finger. And it's like throw this out there. It's like here about the middle of November in Chicago. We've got Rewind Con, a new convention, be the first one of its existence that will be like the 80s, 90s, and beyond. A lot of your soap stars and daytime TV shows, some of the boy bands and stuff that are still around. It's like be a really good time. So check out rewindconvention.com.
All right. And you can get me at Kente F. And you come to our website at indyradio.org. Thank you and enjoy your weekend. And God bless.
Bring me everyone. What do you mean, everyone?